Now the first thing to do is get a heat gun and make sure you heat the back camera lens just enough so it's fairly hot to touch, but it doesn't burn your hand. And as you can see, I'm using like an X-Acto knife or a Stanley knife to just pry up the weakest point where the crack is, and you just need to spend a bit of time on that and eventually it'll crack away. Now, what you don't see in this video is that I'm always constantly putting heat on the actual rear camera lens. Now, when you do expose the actual camera, make sure you do not put too much heat to actually destroy or damage the camera. So just slowly pry up the broken bits. Now, if you do keep heat to it, it makes it a lot easier. So remember that. Try to avoid getting glass in the middle there where the actual camera is. Pick it out with tweezers. Now, for tools and stuff like that, in the description below, I do have a link. I also have a link on where to purchase the actual replacement lens. They're very cheap, and they're actually pretty small pieces of parts, so the shipping will be fairly cheap. Now, continue to slowly remove that glass, and when you do, it'll get easier. As with the actual iPhone 8 Plus, there are two cameras, so the actual lens is a bit bigger than the 8, but the process is the same. You just need to be patient and then slowly keep the heat on the rear lens and then pry up the glass. As you can see, I just used a coin. And now that coin was to cover the actual camera while I was putting heat on there, just to protect the camera. I mean, the amount of heat that you're putting on there, it's not excessive, but a hairdryer heat gun, if you hold it there too much, it can get a bit too hot. And as you can see, I'm slowly being patient with prying up that lens. And there we go, I'll just zoom in a bit. I've just covered the actual camera again. Now, generally, when you get to this part here and there's the last half of it to lift off, it is fairly easy and it tends to come off a bit better. Now, the actual, probably the second last step in this is removing the old adhesive. You slowly just scratch it away with a pair of tweezers or anything that you find easy to take it off. It's very soft, it's very easy to take off. You just need to make sure you take it all off so the actual new lens does sit flush and secure. And there we go. It really is that easy. You just place it on there. You might see a bit of glue oozing on the actual side of the actual lens. As long as it doesn't obstruct the actual camera lens itself, you should be fine. Remember, wipe off the excessive adhesive. The glue does set fairly quick.